lead stories. Nationally, Central Bastia will have a new representative, says PAM's candidate, and persons with convictions for possession of minor amounts of marijuana urged to expunge records. Regionally, Antigua's PM Brown hits out at EU blacklisting of Caribbean countries. Internationally, Democratic debate rivals intensify attacks on Bernie Sanders. And in sports, LeBron James scores 40 points in LA Lakers win over New Orleans Pelicans. We'll have the details of these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back. Another national news in detail.
Come the next election, Central Bastia will have a new representative. May win by 4 like patches. It got to be 400.
That's the People's Action Movement PAM's candidate for constituency number 2, Central Bastia, Ambassador Jonel Powell. He was speaking during Tuesday night, second in a series of town hall meetings hosted by the Team Unity government. Mr. Powell's opponent in the upcoming general elections will be the Honorable Marcella Liebert, who is the current representative for Central Bastia and will run on a St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party SKNLP's ticket. Prime Minister and leader of the Team Unity Coalition, Dr. Honorable Timothy Harris, who was present at the proceedings, also endorsed Mr. Powell.
Central Bastia in 2020 can look forward with Ambassador Jonel Powell working and delivering for the people of Central Bastia and our beautiful country. I want to commend him to the people of Central Bastia as a young professional, full of energy, and you contrast this young man with the old lady, tired, weary, and too greedy to be of service to the people of Central Bastia. A vote for Jonel Powell is a vote to put back a Team Unity government.
Prime Minister Dr. Honorable Timothy Harris. Individuals with convictions for possession of minor amounts of marijuana under 56 grams or 1.9 ounces are encouraged to apply to have their records expunged to enjoy less hassle when seeking a job, a passport, or travel visa. The Criminal Records Rehabilitation of Offenders Amendment Bill 2020, which was passed earlier this month, made it possible to expunge such records through a simplified process outlined by Attorney General the Honorable Vincent Byron Jr. According to the Attorney General, he explained the process begins with a visit to the post office to purchase a $10 stamp. The person must then go to the Criminal Records Office at police headquarters and fill out a form. This is where the $10 stamp is used. The person then returns the form to the office to complete the process. He added that it's an automatic expungement. However, persons with other serious convictions will have to apply for expungement under a separate process. Furthermore, persons convicted of murder, manslaughter, firearm offenses, treason, or sexual offenses are not eligible to have their records expunged. As the nation is gearing up for the imminent general elections, improving St. Kitts and Nevis' healthcare system in the Twin Island Federation will be top priority for the next-gen SKN Labour administration. That's according to leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, SKNLP, the Dr. Honorable Denzel Douglas. He stated that his party recognizes access to health care as a human rights issue. Dr. Douglas added that only the next-gen SKN will deliver real transformational change to the health sector. He noted that at the recent Intersessional Summit held this past week in Barbados, Caribbean leaders highlighted the rapid escalation of chronic non-communicable diseases in the region. These diseases include Parkinson's disease, autoimmune diseases, strokes, heart diseases, cancer, diabetes, and others. He emphasized that the nation's main resource is the people, and a healthy nation is a wealthy nation, and the opposite applies as well. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis is providing opportunities for all persons through STEP, according to the nation's Prime Minister and Minister of People Empowerment, Dr. Honorable Timothy Harris. This came on the heels of a recently held Health and Career Expo, which was held at the West Independence Square in Bastia. STEP, Skills Training Empowerment Program, Health and Career Expo 2020, showcased activities of STEP in the various sectors, both public and private, where STEP interns are attached for skill training, was held in commemoration of STEP's 3rd anniversary. STEP was previously known as the People Empowerment Program, PEP, that offered short-term employment before the unity government renamed it, which now gives people better opportunities through skills training, job attachments, or formal training through educational institutions. The Minister of State, the Honorable Wendy Phipps, and Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Mr. Osbert D'Souza, were also among those present. According to PM Harris, STEP is perhaps the second largest employer of persons in the country, with over 3,000 participants in the program. The Ministry of Human Resources in the Nevis Island Administration, NIA, is now accepting applications from all persons interested in receiving financial aid from the NIA to assist with higher education. The significance of final assistance is measured by government's priority areas, the individual's professional development, the strategic objectives of the country, and the contribution the education will make to the wider community. Financial assistance is funding approved by the NIA to an applicant in order to partially support higher education studies. According to a release from the NIA, an individual may apply for financial aid whether or not the individual is employed by the NIA. Applications must be delivered to the Ministry of Human Resources by May 1st, 2020. And finally, the deadline to submit pieces for the Youth Art Exhibition has been extended to Tuesday, March 10th. The extension is to allow additional time for students to complete their pieces. The exhibition will be mounted on Thursday, March 12th at the department's offices at the Cable Building in St. Kitts. Acting Director of the Department of Youth Empowerment, Pierre Liebert, has issued a special invitation for artists between the ages of 12 and 35 years to participate in the second annual event. The event is an excellent avenue for young artists to showcase their talent to a wide audience. Director Liebert noted that he would like to see a greater representation by artists who are not in high schools. More information can be obtained at the Department of Youth Empowerment in the Cable Building on Kearn Street in St. Kitts. And that's the National News segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
We know you have your personal as well as your business needs, and we're here to help. Our knowledgeable staff will work with you to help you achieve the financial success that you or your company needs in a competitive market. We offer solutions to make your banking experience easier, like our savings and checking accounts. Be sure to ask about our youth savers accounts and our Bank of Nevis Gold Club. We offer a wide range of personal loans, including mortgage, land, student, auto, and consumer loans. Have access to your funds instantly with our Online internet banking and our debit and credit cards. We make international banking and investing easy. How's your business? Give it the leverage it really needs by letting the Bank of Nevis assist you with all the necessary funding for all your business expenses. It's that easy. What are you waiting for? The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/The Bank of Nevis.
Welcome back. Another regional news in detail. Out of Antigua, Prime Minister Gaston Brown used his turn at the table during the recent CARICOM meeting to chide the blacklisting of member states by the European Union (EU). The EU has used its tax good governance standard to label some Caribbean countries as non-cooperative tax jurisdictions, despite the fact that the countries in question are not designated as non-compliant by the relevant regulatory authorities like the Financial Action Task Force and the OECD Global Forum. This is not the first time Brown has spoken about how blacklisting is damaging to countries also facing existential challenges posed by climate change, resulting in catastrophic natural disasters across the region. PM Brown argued that the process of de-risking, which has led to a withdrawal of relations by some U.S. banks from Caribbean countries, posed a serious threat to the region's welfare, including its capacity to export goods from the U.S. He also received a nod by heads of government present with his claims that the EU's actions constitute a blatant violation of the country's sovereignty. Brown also reiterated the call for the creation of an appropriate intergovernmental tax body with the adequate means and powers to set standards and rules which support an equitable and universal approach to an international tax governance infrastructure. CARICOM member states fall into the category of small island development and low-lying states, SIDS. Many of them are middle-income countries which cannot access concessional development financing. Coronavirus fears have been raised on board a new cruise ship after it was blocked from docking in Jamaica because a member of its crew was sick. The MSC Meraviglia, which is carrying more than 4,500 passengers and 1,600 crew from Miami, was barred from making port in Ocho Rios on Tuesday when officials discovered that a member of the crew was in isolation with flu-like symptoms. Health Minister Chris Tufton said the decision was taken because the person had a fever, cough, muscle pains, and had been to a country of interest linked with coronavirus. The ship is now headed for Georgetown, the capital of the Cayman Islands, where health authorities have already said it will not be able to dock. It comes after cruise ship MS Westerdam was rejected from 5 ports early this month amid fears over coronavirus and after an outbreak of the disease on the Diamond Princess ship, which sickened more than 600 and killed 4. The MSC Meraviglia cruise ship was turned away from port in Ocho Rios, Jamaica, on Tuesday and has already been told it cannot dock in the Cayman Islands over coronavirus fears. MSC said that the crew member in question had boarded the ship in Miami on Sunday after traveling from Manila in the Philippines via the Turkish city of Istanbul. Out of Jamaica. The search is continuing for an 8-year-old female student who was washed away while attempting to cross a river in Epsom, St. Mary on Monday afternoon. The student attends the Epsom Primary School in the parish. The police said the misfortune happened shortly after 3 p.m. Divers and rescue workers, including members of the fire department, unsuccessfully searched for the child until late Monday evening. Residents and other persons have now joined in the search. Out of St. Martin. The covenant between the Justice Ministry of the Prosecutor's Office, the St. Martin Police Force KPSM, and Foundation Judicial Institute St. Martin SJIB to facilitate electronic surveillance in the justice system was finally signaled by all parties on Tuesday. According to Duran, SJIB gave several conditions for its role in the electronic surveillance project. These were outlined in a letter accompanying the budget. He said these issues have apparently been settled as evidenced by SJIB signing the agreement yesterday. The electronic surveillance project is a form of a digital incarceration where ankle bracelets will be used in order to monitor the movements of detainees who are temporarily released, said the Justice Minister in a press release on Tuesday. And finally, pediatric cancer experts and health authorities convened by the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, together with the Hospital for Sick Children, Sick Kids, and St. Jude Children's Research Hospital are calling for stepped-up action to improve the survival rate for children suffering from cancer in the Caribbean. In the Caribbean and globally, cancer is among the leading causes of death in children under age 15. In high-income countries, more than 8 in 10 children with cancer are able to survive the illness thanks to early diagnosis and effective treatment. But in several Caribbean countries, 2-year overall survival is only about 55%. Higher toxicity of cancer treatments and patients abandoning their treatment are the main barriers to successful outcomes, and experts say that strengthening health systems is the best way to address these challenges. The experts convened by PAHO include pediatricians, pediatric oncologists, and non-communicable disease program managers from 9 Caribbean countries and territories, along with representatives of ministries of health and other collaborating organizations. The group met in Port of Spain, Trinidad, recently to map out ways to increase support and action at both the country and international levels to reduce deaths in children and adolescents with cancer in the Caribbean through strengthened health systems, focusing on improving diagnosis, treatment, training, and family support. That's it for the regional stories. Stay with us for news from around the world. The international news in detail. The Democratic presidential candidate debate in Charleston, South Carolina, reprised a piece of political theater similar to a performance 6 days earlier in Las Vegas. On stage in Nevada last week, the debate played out like a dinner theater murder mystery. Michael Bloomberg was a victim, while everyone else on the stage had a motive and the means to do him in. This time on Tuesday night, it was Bernie Sanders who got the rhetorical bludgeon. It was the last debate before South Carolina votes on Saturday, followed by 14 other states next Tuesday, and was full of tense moments and sharp exchanges reflecting the high stakes. Meanwhile, Joe Biden was not arrested in South Africa while trying to see Nelson Mandela. His campaign has conceded. The U.S. presidential contender had repeatedly said he was arrested during a trip there in the 1970s when South Africa was under apartheid. However, a deputy campaign manager told reporters Mr. Biden had been referring to an episode where he was separated from black colleagues at an airport. Mr. Biden is counting on black support to win South Carolina on Saturday. Delhi remains on edge after a third consecutive night of rioting, with reports of Muslim homes and shops being targeted by violent mobs. More in this BBC report.
The riots have been sent east of the city in largely Muslim neighborhoods.
I was not able to step out my house because I was scared that a group of people will came to my house and they will pelt some stone, they will fire my house, they can do everything.
And it's that fear that's forced families to flee their homes. India's Hindu nationalist Prime Minister Narendra Modi finally called for calm, saying the police were working to ensure peace. But many still accuse the authorities of not doing enough to keep people safe.
Several European countries have announced their first coronavirus cases, all apparently linked to the growing outbreak in Italy. Austria, Croatia, and Switzerland said the cases involved people who had been to Italy, as did Algeria in Africa. Italy has in recent days become Europe's worst affected country with more than 300 cases and 11 deaths. And finally, trading in global financial markets paused for breath on Wednesday afternoon after days of sharp losses spurred by fears about the coronavirus. In morning trade in New York, the main U.S. indexes were up about 1%, regaining ground after steep falls on Tuesday. In Europe, London's FTSE 100 index and other major bourses had pared their losses and were mostly flat. Earlier, Japan's Nikkei's 225 index and the Hang Seng in Hong Kong closed 0.8% and 0.7% lower, respectively. The signs of stabilization came despite ongoing warnings from firms of supply chain disruption and slowdown caused by the deadly virus, which has spread to more than 30 countries. Factory production continues to lag, travel restrictions remain in place, and consumers in some countries are staying at home. The virus is likely to reduce global growth in the first 3 months of this year by almost 1%, Moody's Analytics estimates. However, it warned that if the outbreak was not contained as expected, it could trigger recessions in the U.S. and elsewhere. That brings us to the end of our news segments. The latest in sports is next.
Your business needs superior copy and printing services, business equipment and furniture, and a wide array of renting materials for all occasions. TDC Business Center, providing solutions that work.
Welcome back. Another sports in detail. In basketball, LeBron James scored a season-high 40 points as the Los Angeles Lakers beat the New Orleans Pelicans 118 points to 109 points last evening, February 25th. The three-time NBA champion scored 16 points in the third quarter, while teammate Anthony Davis finished with 21 points. Pelicans rookie Zion Williamson, playing for the Lakers for the first time, scored 29 points. Williamson, 19, who was the #1 draft pick, missed the first 44 games of the season with a knee injury. But in his 13 games since his debut in late January, he has averaged 23.3 points a game and scored 20 points or more in 11 games. The Lakers won 6 games in a row and leads the Western Conference with 44 wins and 12 losses, while the New Orleans Pelicans is 10th and 3 wins away from the last playoff spot. Elsewhere, the Eastern Conference leaders, the Milwaukee Bucks, beat reigning NBA champions the Toronto Raptors 108-97 for their 50th win this season. Meanwhile, Pacers beat the Hornets 119 points to 80 points. Thunder defeated the Bulls 124 points to 122 points. Kings beat the Warriors 112 points to 94 points. Celtics defeated Trail Blazers 118 points to 106 points, and the Nuggets beat the Pistons 115 points to 98 points. Still in basketball. Prior to Monday night's tip-off, Knicks interim coach Mike Miller said his depleted club would face 2 Hall of Fame guards in the matchup with the Rockets at Toyota Center. As it turned out, it was just 1 Hall of Fame guard. While Russell Westbrook sat out with a thumb injury after earlier attending the Kobe Bryant Memorial in Los Angeles, a travel-weary James Harden decided to play and put on his usual clinic against the Knicks. From inside and outside, Harden burned the Knicks from 31 points in the first half on the way to a 37-point, 9-assist evening as the Rockets won in a 123-112 rout. The Knicks lost their fourth straight to hit the 40-loss mark and played without their top 2-point guards in Elfrid Payton and Frank Ntilikina, according to NBA.com. Dennis Smith Jr. made his third start at the point but couldn't do much against Harden, nor could rookie R.J. Barrett, who essentially was the backup point guard. In cricket, West Indies fast bowler Sheldon Cottrell grabbed 2 wickets in a fiery opening burst and ended with the third best figures of his ODI career. But West Indies did not sustain the momentum and lost the second match to Sri Lanka on Wednesday night. Sri Lanka now leads the ODI series 2-0. The visitors fell to a heavy defeat by 161 runs and surrendered the series 2-0 with 1 match to play. They lost the first match by 1 wicket last Saturday, the Sinhalese Sports Club in Colombo. The scores were Sri Lanka 345 runs for 8 of 50 overs. Avishka Fernando 127, Kuzal Mendes 119, Sheldon Cottrell 4 for 67, Alzari Joseph 3 for 57, West Indies 184 all out of 39.1 overs, Shai Hope 51, Nicholas Poran 31, Wanindu Haranga 3 for 30. In women cricket, Pakistan stunned former champions West Indies to claim one of their biggest wins at the Women's T20 World Cup in Canberra. Chasing 125, Pakistan controlled the run rate with captain Bismar Maroof making a controlled 38 runs not out and Javera Khan 35 runs as they raced to their target with 10 balls remaining. Having opted to bat first when the West Indies were reduced to 28 for 3 and ultimately tripped their way to 124 runs for 7, largely due to captain Stephanie Taylor's 43 runs. Scores are West Indies 124 for 7 in 20 overs, Taylor 43 runs, Campbell 43 runs, Diana 2 for 19, Pakistan 127 runs for 2 in 18.2 overs, Maroof 38 not out, Javera 35 runs. Pakistan won by 8 wickets. In local sports, the Under-20 Junior Basketball Semifinals continued on Tuesday, February 25th at Basketball City in St. Kitts. NABA Chargers of Nevis defeated ASC Jayhawks in a close encounter. Final scores were NABA Chargers 79 points, ASC Jayhawks 74 points. The playoffs will continue on Thursday, February 27th with 2 games, Bird Rock Uprisers versus Inner City Phoenix at 7 p.m. and NABA Chargers versus Jayhawks at 8 p.m. And that's it for sports. The General Weather Report is next. Welcome back. Another local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. There will be fair to partly cloudy skies tonight with a 20% or slight chance of a brief shower. Winds are east to northeast at 15 to 28 kilometers per hour or 8 to 15 knots with lighter spells overnight. Seas are 1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:30 a.m. And that's a wrap up the Media News package for today, Wednesday, February 26th, 2020. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, Central Bastia will have a new representative, says PAM's candidate. And persons with convictions for possession of minor amounts of marijuana urged to expunge records. Regionally, Antigua's PM Brown hits out at EU blacklisting of Caribbean countries. Internationally, Democratic debate rivals intensify attacks on Bernie Sanders. And in sports, LeBron James scores 40 points in LA Lakers win over New Orleans Pelicans. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tashan Tyson, wishing you a pleasant evening.